Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming miniature video. In this video, we are going to continue on with our Sarissa building project for my 15mm Napoleonics. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint these cottages, and because they are very similar, I'm just going to paint them on the same video. But I am going to paint this frame wood, right? I'm going to paint it a dark brown, and then it's basically going to be a base coat, and then I'm going to highlight it to bring up the colors. I'm going to leave I plan to leave the door and the windows just like they are. And then I'm going to put dark in the windows. But the body is going to be dark brown, and the roof is also going to be dark brown. This building is going to stay white, but I am going to paint well, it's not actually going to be white, it's going to be cream, but I'm going to paint the roof dark brown. And then I'll paint the doors and windows dark brown. So they'll have kind of a similar look, but they'll also be very different. So let's just go ahead and start with the frame on this house, the entire body of this house. And I grabbed a giant brush. This is a number 8 brush, because I had such a large area to paint. There's a rule that I live by, learned a long time ago. Use the largest brush possible. To accomplish your goal. So if you need fine detail, okay, use a small brush, but use the biggest fine detail brush that you can for whatever you're painting. And when we get next to the windows and doors, I'm actually using the side of the brush because I don't want my brush to accidentally get down inside the window area and paint it. Okay, now I'm taking out the streaks, or I'm not taking them out, I should say I'm allowing them to go in the same direction as the wood planking. Now when I paint the back, or I should say that where the chimney's at, I can get it on the chimney. It's okay, because I'm going to be painting the chimney later, with stone colors. I might have to do 2 coats of this brown, but I might not. I might just let the khaki shine through, because it kind of gives it a cool effect. Stone grain effect. But I was planning on coming back over this with a lighter brown to lighten the wood grain, like a beige brown. Okay, well, that's the body, but I'm going to let that dry just a little bit so I can grab it, because I'm planning on doing the top brown as well. And remember, I'm doing, on this one, I'm doing the roof brown. I'm doing that roof brown as well. Now, this dark brown is going on as an undercoat. I might lighten it up, might highlight it and weather it and all that. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with it just yet. But I know I wanted this cottage to have a brown roof, not a gray or red one like is traditional. I think I said I was going to paint the windows and doors with this dark brown. And when I go to paint the wood slats, the cream color, I can always fix any overbrushing on the doors and windows. But I am going to use a smaller brush than this for that. And I'm trying to paint horizontally. Might have to use a softer brush because this brush is kind of stiff. It's a stiff brush, which is kind of good. Good for dry brushing and stuff like that, even though I'm not going to ruin it that way. Okay, don't forget to hit the edges of your roof as well as the underside of the front and back. And again, this might need 2 coats because you can see how it's kind of faded there. I mean, that's kind of a cool looking effect, to be honest. On that side by the chimney, I could see up under the roof gable. So I'm going to have to paint up under there. And I see, yep, I can see up under this side too. Might have to water this paint down a little bit so I can put thin coats on. Okay, we're going to let that soak for just a moment. Might come back with something. And again, I can get it on the chimney. It's okay because I still have to paint the chimney. Paint the shed. Well, I don't think it's a shed. The reason why I say that is there's no door on the outside of it. It's attached to the building, so the door is probably inside the building that leads into that little closet. This one's starting to look really good. I might need a second coat on the roof. So I'm going to have to let the roof dry a little bit before I go in and start applying a second coat. This roof looks pretty dry, or dry enough for a second coat. And I did water this glue. I watered this paint down a little bit. So now there's no brush strokes. Yeah, as part of the second coat. Okay, that looks good. I still need to do the doors and the windows. I might try a different shade of brown. Could try anything. I could try red or yellow or green. yeah, those windows are going to be a different shade of brown. It's not going to be dark brown. What I'm trying to say is I can have a little overbrush because I'm still going to be painting the wood slats a cream color. And I can have an overbrush of the frame because I'm still going to be painting the glass kind of black. Smoky black. It's a slightly different shade than the roof, but it's very subtle. Okay, so we got the wood frame on the window, on the two windows in the front and the door. We got this guy. Sit for a minute and let them dry before I continue. All right, so once they dry, we'll be right back. All right, now these roofs are dry and everything is ready to go. Now we're gonna move on to another aspect of these buildings. These buildings they are mostly wood and white paneling, where this one is the dark brown, which I'm gonna add some lighter tones. But we're gonna be doing their chimneys right now. Their chimneys are not brick. If you can see that, they're more loose stones, right? So I thought about painting each individual stone, leaving the white in between as kind of a mortar color. Let's see if I'm able to do that. So here we go as a experiment. Oh, by the way, I am using dark sea gray because it's kind of a bolder color, a gray, but also kind of a grimy. All right, it took me a few minutes to get every little stone painted because I took my time and deliberately tried to avoid any of the lines in between the stones, giving it a kind of a mortar look. Now, because this building was originally primed khaki, I did the same with this, and it actually looks a little bit better. Maybe like an old weathered mortar and not a white mortar. Both of these are going to be washed, so I'm sure that white will turn into a darker color. I also painted the end cap the same color. I think I might go over it later with maybe a metallic or something. I'm not sure yet. But let's set these off to the side, let them dry before I move on to the next step. All right, I'm coming back with the Americana buildings. They have a couple of chimneys that are stone, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a light gray to accentuate certain stones. I'm just going to randomize it because when you look at the stonework, you can see it's a randomized stone. So I can't just go every other, but I'm going to try to. And it's going to be a little bit lighter to give it a little bit of two-dimensional texture. Okay, so let's jump in and start doing stones. And with the irregular shape of these stones, some of your light stones are going to be adjacent to other light stones, and that's okay. All right, so I did all the opposites. Now I want to do some of the inside stones. Like I mentioned earlier, not every stone is going to be done. I want to do one more. I want to do this big one right here. Okay, so there you go. You get like a randomized stone look. Now we're going to I'm going to do the second one, and then we're going to let them both dry before we move on to some of the final steps. All right, so we did the same with these stones here, and we're going to let those dry before we move on to the final steps. All right, and then we're going to continue on with these Americana cottages. Now, I'm painting the top cap of the chimney a black brown. I'm using the MIG Atom line black brown. It's not German camo black brown, which I feel is a little bit darker than this. But I wanted this to look like it was grimy, get it ready for some rust accents, maybe a little sooty from being a chimney and having smoke go up through it all the time. So yeah, black brown. There you go. Not finished, but we're getting close. All right, let me set this off to the side, and once it dries, we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we're back with the Americana buildings. There's a step that I want to do before we start doing any washing on these, which is really the next step after this one. I want to darken the windows, the glass of the windows. So I'm using dark gray or dunkelgrau from MIG, and what I'm going to do is paint it inside. Paint it inside the window frame, just like that, right? And I'm going to do that again in the front, and I'm going to do it also on this building. So once I get all of those painted, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay, we got all the windows done on both these American cottages. Now we're going to have to let it dry before I start the next step, which should be applying some washes. All right, so I want to tell you what I've done off camera. I finished I finished them, and I don't remember what I did off camera, but I used the dark wash over any of the wood components and the chimney and the windows, and I also put a dull coat on there. I used the Ultra Matte. I don't think it's completely dried yet. I did a little splattering of rust, and I probably put a little too much on there. But these are pretty much done and ready to be played with. Now on the windows, I painted black in the windows, right where the glass was, and then I went back over it with some natural steel in the corners, so you can see that it just kind of gives it a little, on the gaming table, it'll give it a little bit of a window effect look. yeah, so that's an Americana. This is an American, either American War of Independence or American Civil War or French and Indian War, something like that. Uh, but I plan to use this in my American War of Independence but also in my Napoleonics games. And these two are very similar in size and shape. Same type of chimney and roof and doors and windows, but this one has a little shed on the back. Did the same thing with the windows there, and that's pretty much the end of the Americana. Okay, I want to show off the finished product of this North American church. Now, a couple of things I want to point out is I did go over the wood with a white gray. See if I've got it over here. Yep. With this white gray, I went over the wood. I also added some crosses into the stained glass and painted the door red, and then I applied a dark wash using the dark tone over the entire model. And then, well, really, let me back that up. Over the windows and the roof. I didn't use the dark tone on the area that I just touched up with the white. I did do the door and the windows with the dark tone. And then once the dark tone was done, I went ahead and used ultra matte over the entire model. And yeah, it looks really good. I'm pleased with it. And this is not a removable roof of any kind, so this will work great for my Marshals and Generals Napoleonics game. It'll fit in a town sector. Or my Marshals and Generals game will also encompass American War of Independence, so this could be used for that. Or Civil War if I was doing that, but I'm not. All right, thank you. Now I am doing all my Sarissa buildings that I had prepared for my Quatre Bras game, so be sure to come back and check out all those videos to see all the buildings that I did. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. American War of Independence cottages or little farmsteads. All right, I hope you enjoyed me painting this. Be sure to check out all of our videos where I had painted all these, and I will show them in their respective videos. All right, so come back and check out all those other videos, and I will catch you in the next one.